Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The illegal migration bill is critical to stopping the boats. Its intent is clear. If you come to the UK illegally, you should be detained.
So this is Robert Jenrick talking about the publication of the impact assessment on the immigration bill.
And swiftly returned to your home country if safe, or relocated to a safe third country like Rwanda. The impact assessment published yesterday makes clear that inaction is simply not an option. The volumes and costs associated with illegal migration have risen exponentially, driven by small boat arrivals. Unless we act decisively to stop the boats, the cost to the taxpayer and the damage to society will continue to grow.
So it's the usual waffle. I'll let him carry on.
The asylum system currently costs £3.6 billion a year and £6 million a day in hotel accommodation.
I'm not going to interrupt anymore, but I'm just wondering why on earth aren't they processing immigrants faster? This is Tory economics, damage control rather than foresight. Anyway, I want to get through this to get to Yvette Cooper's response.
But that is not the true cost of doing nothing. As this impact assessment shows, the cost of accommodating illegal migrants has increased dramatically since 2020. And if these trends continue, the Home Office would be spending over £11 billion a year, or £32 million a day, on asylum support by the end of 2026. In such a scenario, the bill would only need to deliver a 2% deterrence in arrivals to enable cost savings. Mr. Speaker, £11 billion is an extraordinary amount of money, nearly 10 times the amount of money the taxpayer spent on the asylum system as recently as 2021. And anyone opposing this bill needs to explain how they would pay those costs. Given the Labour Party's opposition to this bill...
Sorry to interrupt again, but look at Gullis in the background nodding his head.
It represents another £11 billion black hole in their fiscal plans. The impact assessment suggests that passing this bill could directly save the UK taxpayer over £100,000 for every illegal migrant deterred from making a small boat crossing. It also found that the bill could lead to a much wider set of benefits, including reducing pressures on local authorities, on public services and the housing market, which could not be monetised, meaning the savings will in fact be much, much greater. Mr. Speaker, the British public are clear that they want to stop the boats.
It's the old trope of the British public.
And that is why we must keep using every tool at our disposal to do just that, to secure our borders, and why this bill must become law.
Yvette Cooper.
OK, let's go.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I was going to ask if the Immigration Minister had seriously signed off this garbage of an impact assessment that no self-respecting minister could possibly think was serious. But actually, the nonsense that he's just said is even worse and even less coherent. This is not an impact assessment. According to the government's own guidance, it's supposed to include the costs, benefits and risks and a consideration of a range of options. Instead, we've got something which doesn't even include some of the most basic options to assess, like speeding up the asylum system and making savings that way. And instead it says this impact assessment does not attempt to estimate any costs of implementing the bill or estimate the volumes of individuals that will be impacted by the bill. Really, what is the point of it? It admits, this document admits themselves, that people may not be deterred by any of this, and it cannot answer the most basic questions. I have never seen anything more clueless and chaotic than this. It does provide evidence of the scale of Conservative failure. The cost for one person in the asylum system for just one night has gone up fivefold in 4 years. That is just the cost of Tory mismanagement. It's gone up faster than mortgages, energy bills, even gone up faster than the price of cheese. All Tory Home Office mismanagement. It shows the shocking fact that people are now staying in the asylum system for 4 years, and there's no alternative thing to try and speed up the system and look at that. They do say it will cost £169,000 per person to pay another country to take asylum decisions for us. Now, so far, the government sent more Home Secretaries than asylum seekers to Rwanda. But how many people are they actually budgeting for? The Prime Minister says he wants to send everyone, so can he tell us where the billions of pounds that would cost to send everyone this year to Rwanda would come from? And if not, can he tell us how many he's really budgeting for and what, in fact, is going to happen to everyone else instead? It says it costs £7,000 per person for 40 days to detain someone, keep someone in detention. That is more than double the average current cost of keeping people elsewhere in the asylum system. So where's the hundreds of millions of pounds for the detention plan going to come from, and where are these detention facilities going to come from too? He hasn't attempted to cost speeding up the system, and hasn't attempted to actually cost what we really think will happen, which is tens of thousands more people actually in indefinite detention or indefinite asylum accommodation. The Treasury bailed out the Home Office by £2.4 billion last year. How much is it going to be this year? They've crashed the economy, now they've crashed the asylum system too. You've got an impact assessment, shows the Home Office haven't got a clue, the Treasury haven't got a grip, and the Prime Minister, who claims to be Mr. Fix-It, is instead Mr. Muck It Up. The country deserves better than this.
Now, usually I would cut someone like Jenrick's reply out, but I'm going to keep it in because I think it's important to see the way he's not intimidated or ashamed and doesn't really respond to any of the facts raised by Cooper, but instead just goes on the attack.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Lady misses the point entirely. The impact assessment bears out the cost of the current broken system, and it makes clear that there is no option but to completely overhaul our asylum system and to make it fit for the decades ahead. The reality of the situation, as we on this side of the House see it, is straightforward. If people continue to cross in small boats, the cost to the taxpayer in one form or another will continue to increase. And this is a completely unacceptable outcome. But it is the one that they can expect with Labour's recklessly naive approach to border security. When she said that this document was garbage and clueless, I thought she was referring to her own 5-point plan to tackle illegal migration. Because you can't grant your way out of the problem. You can't simply arrest your way out of this and do nothing to dismember and dismantle the business model of the gangs. You can't provide a safe and legal route to every single person eligible for refugee status, or every economic migrant who views this country as a better place. And you certainly, Mr. Speaker, can't reheat the tired old policies like the Dublin Convention that she looked back on through her rose-tinted spectacles. Even members of the European Union have moved on from that, but not the Labour Party. She can't even bring herself to call these unnecessary and dangerous journeys what they are under British law, which is illegal. The truth is, Labour's do-nothing approach to stopping the boat is the fastest route to more crossings, greater taxpayer spending and more pressure on our communities. Left unchecked, the cost will spiral to £11 billion by 2026. That is the cost of a Labour Home Secretary. That is the cost of Cooper. It is only the Conservative Party that will truly tackle the root cause of the problem, not just the symptoms. We, Madam Deputy Speaker, are determined to secure our borders and to stop the boats, and the British public can rely on us to do so.
Click here for Cooper tearing Braverman and New One.